Hi everybody. I wanted to say thank you for watching my previous video. It was pretty bad in terms of the lighting and shaking, but since then I've been able to buy a tripod and hopefully that will give us all a lot less vertigo. One of the things I just wanted to say was how much I appreciate all of you watching it, and I was very surprised by the fact that there were so many of you that did. Excuse me, let me turn this off here. Everyone likes to watch some anime while they're getting ready for bed, although I couldn't tell you what it is if I wanted to. I don't remember the name, and it's in Japanese, which I don't speak. But I wanted to give all of you a few updates just regarding my health. As many of you might be able to tell from my lack of ferocious snaggletooth smile here. Well, I've no teeth, of course, but I did the last time I made a video. I had just 4 lowers that were left that needed to be pulled. And I went and saw my doctor about 10 days ago to have that done. And unfortunately for me, I had a very complicated extraction, and just within an hour or so knew that I was going to have a lot of trouble with that, and ended up developing a dry socket and then cellulitis, which is just localized, really intense infection, and ended up going to the emergency room and having to go on a couple of courses of antibiotics, which I'm still on now. And I don't have a lot of options for treatment, so any type of infection for me is pretty serious. So I am doing a lot better. I still have a good deal of swelling here in my face and a good deal of induration, which is literally like rock hard swelling, you know. It's like I have a baseball, well, maybe a golf ball now. The swelling's gone down some. A golf ball here inside of my mouth. And it does make it harder for me to speak, but having no teeth makes it harder to speak, which is one of the reasons why I think people without teeth avoid talking with other people even more so than they might otherwise, is that the moment you start talking, people realize there is something not right about the way you enunciate your language. And for someone who spoke, you know, pretty impeccable English before having my teeth out, that was one of the surprises that I guess I had not anticipated. Because even people that make YouTube videos that come on and talk about their experiences getting dentures and what that journey was like, well, not very many of them talk about what it's like without their teeth in, or have not had to have an extended period of time of what it's like to go without teeth. And let me sum that up in one word. It really sucks. There is no way to tell you the kind of lack of functioning that you have without your teeth. Your denture are there not just to eat, but to speak. You can't make certain sounds without them. And they, you know, of course, hold out this whole mid-region of your face, and so when they're gone, you sort of have this caving in of your face, and it's extremely aging. I'm only 45. I say only, even though I feel like I'm 100 today. But what happens when your teeth are gone, your lips, especially your top mid-face, kind of sucks in. And that can take away, or rather add, another 15 to even 20 years sometimes if you have a smaller face or a shorter face and have a lot of bone loss. Excuse me, on my lip balm here, I have to have it with me at all times, tucked into my secret raw lip gloss hideaway, because my mouth is always so dry. That's another thing without your teeth. You don't realize that they are like a barrier for your saliva even. And so I find myself like spitting all the time, not meaning to, but I don't talk to very many people besides those people within my direct contact, like my family members, because I'm so conscious and aware of, you know, not having my teeth, and that is really something that will just take a high, elevated self-esteem right down into the dumps. And I didn't have a high, elevated self-esteem to start with, so for me it was something that I continue to struggle with. I cry a lot about. I have nightmares about it. All kinds of varied nightmares. Some I have where I'm talking to someone and my dentures, which I don't have yet, but my dentures go flying across the room at someone like they have a life of their very own and take flight into someone else's lap or face, or we're out at dinner and we're eating and I try to bite down on something and instead my denture goes flying out of my mouth. And one story I'll share with you that I didn't even realize until I was starting this journey a couple of years ago. I was 43 at the time when I finally understood this. My grandmother, who was a really quiet woman, stern, grown up on Mississippi, you know, tenant farmer type, dairy farm, strong but quiet, real hardy stock, and she didn't get to see us much. My father brought us to see her one time in all of my childhood that I can recall, and my sister and I, the two youngest of the five of us, went to stay for just a couple of days with them when they moved to San Diego. And my grandmother got up and would make us, you know, floating eggs in bacon grease. That's a good Mississippi start to the day. And some grits. And one of the things that she would do is bend over and, you know, make us each a portion, and then she might go to say something and her lower teeth would come flying out of her mouth and literally a few times landed in my eggs or in my sister's hair, and we as children, you know, thought she was doing this on purpose, especially because then she would become very upset, grab her teeth wherever they might land, whether that was in the grits or in someone's hair, and run away from us, slam the door into her bedroom and cry. And for my entire lifetime, I believe that my grandmother not only didn't like us, but she hated us, so much so that she went screaming and crying from the room. And we just, of course, being children, selfish, center of the universe type of people, thought that she was spitting her teeth at us as some type of offensive show of distaste, or she didn't care for us, so kind of like sticking out your tongue, but one step further. And you know, we were really little at this age. I probably was only about 8, and my little sister was maybe 4, and so it's something that, you know, an 8-year-old might deduce as a logical reason for Grandma to go basically running, crying from the room. And it really left an impact on me. Not only that my grandmother died, and I believe that she hated me, but that this deep, real, emotional, irrational fear of wearing dentures, having them in my mouth, having that foreign body in my mouth, and having them have literally a life of their own. And one of the reasons that I'm working very hard to raise funds is so that I can have a fixed overdenture prepared, rather than just a regular old pair of dentures that one might use adhesives to hold in. And that's also because of the car accident that injured my neck and back and the side of my face. It really altered the interior structures of my palate, both on the upper and lower side on the left. And so everything's kind of sideways like this. And that means that my dentures aren't likely to stay in very well without some implants, and those are very expensive, as many of you know if you're in the denture wearing business. Excuse me if you can hear my teenage children fighting outside the door. It's what they do. Anyway, but getting back to what I was saying is that I, spent my entire life thinking that, I was hated because my grandma literally spit her teeth out at me, and it is something that I think about a lot, and I wonder if I'll be able to even converse with someone and have a conversation with them without slobbering on them, without spitting my dentures out at them, whether they'll stay in at all. I have been told by a prosthodontist that I'm really going to struggle with keeping them in my mouth without a implant or a couple of implants. I probably need at least 4 on the top and the bottom, and right there you're talking about at least $10,000 to $15,000. We live on the West Coast up in Washington State, and it's a very expensive place to have reconstructive dentistry done, and because of the nature of my injuries and my overall health, it's going to be very expensive. And I don't have dental insurance. I'm disabled. I have a fixed income. Social Security does not go very far every month, and it certainly doesn't go very far to pay for the extraordinary cost of cosmetic dentistry. And so I just wanted to share with you, one, my grandma never did hate my guts. I'm sure she loved me just like any grandma loves their grandchildren. But two, that those kinds of early memories we have sometimes leave a very lasting impression upon us, and I hope that the nightmares that I have today, maybe in the next coming months, where I'm able to have a denture made and have some implants placed, and those dentures successfully stay in my mouth, therefore giving me a, more attractive appearance, one that I'm happier with at least. I look in the mirror and I don't recognize the person looking back. And I try as much as I possibly can not to look in the mirror. I know that sounds crazy, but when you don't see someone familiar looking back at you, it can be a very unsettling experience. And it's not that I was ever gorgeous to start with. I wasn't. I've always been overweight. I've always, had kind of a crooked nose, where my brother broke my nose when I was a younger child. And there's lots of things about my face that I guess I would change if I had the money and were so inclined, but nothing changes you like the loss of your teeth. Nothing. And it has been something that has gravely affected my self-esteem, as I mentioned earlier, and I don't think that that's going to change until I have a prosthetic, pair of dentures made to enhance my appearance. And just with functionality. You cannot function without teeth, cannot speak, and you cannot eat. A lot of denture wearers choose not to eat with their dentures in, and I understand why that is. I know there's a loss of taste when you have your dentures in, and that's another reason why I'd like to have overdentures made that are secured with implants. Generally those are secured by either mini implants or a couple of, at least 4 full-size implants. My prosthodontist doesn't like mini implants because, short of one country in the United States that manufactures a locator head, which is like an abutment, mini implants are just 2 pieces. One, the snap part that goes in the denture, and then the implant with the head of the implant itself. And as those 2 pieces articulate over and over again as you take your dentures in and out, if that wears down over time, which it does, then the entire implant has to be replaced along with the snapping portion in your denture, and therefore you have to undergo another surgical procedure to put the implant in. You have to have your denture not only realigned but completely reworked where that snap used to be to accommodate a new one. And so the company that makes these particular 3-piece mini implants is called Zest, Z-E-S-T, and they have what's called a locator. And a locator is simply just, as I said, a piece like the implant. And I can kind of hold this up for you. This is something I printed off myself. Shows like the mini implant here and these little locators. And these colored things here are just pieces that fit within the snap, and they can help with the load or the force that is put on your denture as you eat. And your regular bite force when you're eating with normal teeth is about 200 to 220 psi. And with dentures that are not supported by implants, most prosthodontists say that you get about 25 to 30 psi if you're lucky. So that's just a tremendous drop in your ability to bite and chew, and that is why a lot of people don't wear their dentures when they eat. In fact, I don't know anyone in my entire life that I can recall of that I knew personally and closely that wore dentures, that wore them to eat if they were comfortable not doing so. And of course, there are probably tons of people that I've known over my lifetime that I didn't realize wore dentures that did wear them to eat. But there are a whole lot of people that complain about that to their dentists and prosthodontists, and an overdenture can have the entire palate piece removed. It's like more like a horseshoe shape. You see, I can't say that sound at all. It's just a no-go. Horseshoe, there you go. Horseshoe shape, where they take the palate piece out, and that does help with keeping them more trim, and they feel more natural in the mouth. And of course, anything that's secured with an implant is going to stay put, and that's what I'd like to do, and that's why I'm trying so hard to do my fundraising. And I have completed my GoFundMe page. I would invite all of you to look at it and hope that you do. It's on GoFundMe.com/Lisa Smiles Again. And I have a Facebook page, Lisa Smiles Again, that you're all welcome to look at and make your comments on and share your stories. I'd love to hear from you and reach out to you, and just invite you to have a community there where you can talk about things, ask questions. I'm happy to answer them. Do ask respectfully that you make your comments positive ones. There's enough ugliness out there to go around without taking shots at a disabled mother of 3 that has no teeth. If you don't find what I have to say interesting, just go to someone else's channel. But for those of you that are truly interested in learning more about dentures and following me in my journey, I'm delighted to have you. Would be overjoyed to have your donations. We also have a personal GoFundMe site at http://www.lisasmilesagain.com, and that's one that my family set up for me, that we have the domain name, so there's not a chunk of it that comes out. It all goes directly into a account that my sister oversees, and we have only raised about $2,500 at this point, but that's $2,500 more than I had before. So God bless all of you who have made a contribution to that, and I appreciate your compassion and your support and your prayers, and thank you for listening tonight. Have a great night. Bye-bye.